Alright, so let's hop into Lab 2, Designing an Application Strategy for Desktop Applications. This lab has the following exercises. 2.1, Installing using the Application Compatibility Toolkit. Exercise 2.2, Installing Applications. 2.3, Protect your system with SmartScreen. 2.4, Customizing IE with Internet Explorer Administration Kit. 10. 2.5, Using AppV programs, and the lab challenge is deploying AppV program. This lab is a real dog's breakfast with a lot of different components that you guys haven't seen before. This is kind of the equivalent of me pointing out to you guys, this is an airplane. Now strap on that parachute and let's go for a jump. And I'm sure most of you guys, after taking a look at this, went, what? Wait, what? So I'm going to break this down, and hopefully you guys will have a little bit more understanding of what the hell's going on here. First off, if we take a look at the computers required to this lab, we're going to need the server RWDC01, server 02, and both of our Win8 clients. And for software, we're going to require the IE Administration Kit, the Application Compatibility Toolkit, Desktop Optimization Pack, Microsoft SQL Server, and that's it. Okay, let's hop into 2.1. Now, why would you want to use the Application Compatibility Toolkit? It allows you to collect data on what can run the new OS. You'll know what needs to be turfed, what needs to be upgraded, and which systems are good to go. Based upon finding that out, you can then collect all that data to make whatever purchasing decisions you need and budget what kind of hardware you're going to have to buy and how much time it's going to wind up taking, so your labor costs. The information that you're collecting here is going to be stored on a database SQL server. SQL, in case you don't know, is a structured query language, which is a language that databases use to spit out output. A database is pretty much a kind of an overglorified super spreadsheet with all kinds of advanced capabilities, and it's used for storing massive amounts of data. Since we're not collecting a Google-esque amount of data, a free light version of the SQL Server, which is called SQL Express from Microsoft, is fine for this task, which is what we're going to wind up installing here. First thing we have to do is go onto server 02 and log in as Contoso administrator with the account password, and we're going to open up File Explorer, click File Explorer in the taskbar, and then we're going to navigate to RWDC01's software folder. Now it's going to ask us to put in the Windows 2012 installation disk and choose Mount. They didn't include that in the lab setup guide. That's why it's not sitting here on the RWDC01 software. So what we have to do is we're going to have to hop out. Probably best to explain this way. So going back to our lab diagram here, our only system that has a window into the outside world is RWDC01. And we're going to take advantage of that here because we're going to go from our client machine, we're going to open up a connection, and we're going to log into RWDC01, its file share, and drop our disks that we need for this lab into there. For those of you that don't remember how to do this, we'll take a run through. Now we see our public network here. Get some details. So on my network here at home, yours would be 10.10. whatever. Mine's 192.168.1.154. If I hop over here, it's going to ask me for my credentials. Now, since I'm logging into RWDC01, I have to log in as RWDC01's administrator, which makes sense because the share is based on the Contoso account. Two of the files I'm going to need are the Microsoft Desktop Optimization Pack, which also wasn't included in the lab setup guide, and our Windows Server 2012 disk. Now, while these files are copying over, one of the things that I'd like to talk about is why am I using an IP address instead of the machine name? If we hop back over here, in this outside network, we have anywhere between 15 to 25 servers that are calling themselves RWDC01 appearing in the NOS lab. If you go in //RWDC01 and hit enter, what system you wind up getting to and whose system you wind up getting to is going to be completely random, based on the fact that it's going to be whoever the first person that actually had RWDC01 up and running in the lab. The only way to guarantee getting to your unique system is by using the IP address, which is why we're using the IP address, not the name. Now that we have the copy complete, I'm going to hop on and server 02, and I'm going to right click on the Windows 2012 installation disk and select mount. It is now showing up as drive E. Now it's asking us to go into the server manager, click on manage, add roles and features, next, 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 and it's going to ask us to put in the .NET Framework 3.5 features, Windows PowerShell, 2.0 engine, and click next. We're selecting those features. Installing the PowerShell engine. Click buy an alternate source path, and we'll click on here and type in E. As it says in the manual. And this is the folder that we're telling it to go to on our E drive. Click install, and let's see what happens. Our installation has now succeeded, and we can click close. Next thing it's asking us to do is go back to our WDC01 folder. And double click the SQL Express. X64, and that's the file we need. And click run. Now here's our SQL Server Installation Center. New installation, or add features to an existing installation. We'll select that. Okay, so we're going to accept license terms, and we're not going to select send feature data to Microsoft. Click next. select these defaults, click Next. Now we're into the instance configuration. Question 1, which instance is selected and what's it called? Named instance SQL Express. And we'll select Next. And that's all good. This is important and it's selected by default, so that's good. We'll go Next. Next. Okay, so we have SQL Server installed, and this is the window that you'd have to do a screen cap of. Next step, after we close this, close that, and what we have to install is ACT, so the Application Compatibility Toolkit. Double click on it, run. Accept, next. Got all the defaults. And finish. Now if we go down here, go to Start. We have our Application Compatibility Toolkit. And we'll go through the configuration. Enterprise is a default. We'll select that. Select our server. Click Connect. Create our database. Navigate to C. Create a new folder. Create call logs. Make sure that's highlighted. And we'll share it as logs. Count, next. New. And it's asking us to take a screen capture of this particular page. Okay, so we're going to accept all these defaults. We're deploying a new operating system service pack. And our output location is into the Server02 logs folder that we created. File, save and create data collection package. It's going to ask us to save it to regular documents. We're going to change that to RWDC01 software. And click Save. And here's our new package 2 on RWDC01. That concludes exercise 2.1. Okay, on to exercise 2.2, installing applications. Overview. During this exercise, you'll perform a software installation of an MSI file using group policies. MSI applications can be used to install applications and upgrade existing applications. After you create an application with ACT, you must deploy the application to the client. One method to deploy applications is to use a group policy. Now, the nice thing about MSIs is that acronym stands for a Microsoft installer. If they become damaged or corrupted in any way, shape, or form, the next time you try to start it, it'll realize that it's been damaged, and it'll actually get the different sections and different subfiles, whatever the program is, and download them from whatever distribution share. So they'll self-repair that way. Okay, with that, on to the lab. We have to go onto RWDC01, logged in as the Contoso admin, and we're already there. So we're going to use the server manager under tools and select group policy management. Now what we have to do is we have to expand the Contoso domain. Now each one of these little things here, they're called nodes. Nodes are just basically containers. You'll see in documentation, we'll say expand this node, expand that node. This is what they're talking about. Now we've got this expanded, we're going to create a GPO in this domain. So we'll right click on Contoso, and we're going to select create a GPO in this domain and link it here. We're going to type in software install. This is to name our GPO so we can go back to it. You want to give it an actual name that means something. If you get 30 or 40 group policies in, giving it a proper name will allow you to track down exactly what's going on when something breaks, because something will always break. I'm just going to move this around here. So here's the GPO that we've created. I'm going to right click on it. We're going to select edit. We're going to navigate to the computer configuration, policies, software settings. And here we have software installation. We're going to right click here, new, package, and then we're going to go to our WDC01. Select new package number 2. Now the reason that we're using a UNC path, that's what the WAC RWDC01 WAC software is. That's a UNC path. When you're applying a group policy, if you just have it going to say C colon whatever, it's going to try on the client side to look within the C drive of the client. Here, by being very explicit on our software distribution share on our domain controller, it's going to grab that actual package all the time. Now, question number 3. What happens when software is assigned to a computer using a GPO? The answer to this is the software gets installed the next time the computer will boot. We're going to select assigned and click OK. So here we see the source. It's assigned. Now before we move on to the next section of the lab, we still have question number 4 to answer. Why is publish grayed out? Let's see what the hell they're talking about here. So if we go under software settings, software installation, right click, go properties, we'll see, sure enough, publish is actually grayed out here. Now let's take a look under the user configuration to see if the same is happening there. And no. And the reason for this is you can only publish the software to a user. You can't publish it to a computer. A little bit of a trick question there for you. Now once you're done with a group policy in the management editor, you'll want to close it. Now one thing I'd like to point out as far as group policies go is when they get applied. A computer configuration, those wind up getting applied when a computer will boot. And the user configurations will happen when a user will log in to a system. This can be a little bit of a pain when you're working with GPOs, having to wait for systems to reboot and logging on, logging off, just to see if things wind up applying. You do have another way of doing this. So call up a command prompt and you go GP update. And use the force switch. And what this will do is this will update the policy on both the user and the computer settings. Now, mind you, I'm applying this on domain controller, so it's going to wind up asking for this. And if I click yes or select Y for yes, it'll reboot the system, and if I select N, it'll wait. I'm just going to select N right now. Now, if you want to see if your group policies being applied, or if you notice that things aren't working the way you're expecting to, one of the commands you can run is GP result. And use the R switch. What the R switch is resultant set of group policy, or RSOP. This will tell you all the GPOs that are applied to both the computer and the user. So this will help you track down exactly what's going on and seeing if things are being filtered out or not. And you can take the appropriate actions. Getting into this is a little bit more than what's the scope of this course is. You'll get into this more on the server side of things, but just so you know. Now we're on to exercise 2.3, protecting your system with SmartScreen. So I'm already logged on to Win8A, and I have IE fired up. And we'll click on Tools in the upper right hand corner. And under Safety, we'll turn off the SmartScreen filter. And we reverse the process. We'll turn on the SmartScreen filter. And that's it for section 2.3. And now on to exercise 2.4, customizing Internet Explorer with the Internet Explorer Administration Kit 10. This is primarily the reason why you see Internet Explorer deployed in most corporate environments instead of either Chrome or Firefox, is the fact that you can wind up tweaking it and making it your own as far as a corporation goes. Okay, so the first thing we have to do is we have to hop on to Server 02 and go to the RWDC01 software folder, which I already have, and we have to double click on the Internet Explorer Administration Kit. Accept license terms. Next. Okay, so we have external distribution as an ISP, content provider or developer, or an internal distribution via corporate internet. And that's the one we're going to wind up selecting for this lab. And for the organization name, we're going to type in the Contoso Corporation. Finish off install, finish, and done. Okay, now over on Win8A, a couple things we're going to have to do here. One, we're going to have to change our network selector to go to the Microsoft External Virtual Switch so we can get out to the internet. And the other thing we got to do is change our adapter settings. Alright, so here's our internal Contoso network. We have to change this. So we're just going to go with DHCP. Click close. Don't have to disable the NIC, but I always do anyway. Okay, and as we see here, we have internet access. And it's on my local network here. I'll hop into here. We have the Internet Explorer customization kit already installed. Select next. There's our destination folder. Next. And we're using 64-bit base system, so x64, next. Okay, target language, English United States, next. And we're going to go configuration only package, IE10 is already installed. Next. And by default, these are all selected. I've cleared it all, and I've just selected the important URLs, homepage, and support. Click next. Okay, we'll select run. That's all good. So we're not going to be blowing away our hard drive here. Okay, so question 7. This is the default URL, and we're going to change this. And we're going to change it to click add. There we go. Select next. Using Explorer 10 first run recommended. Page. Okay, next. Okay, now the wizard's completed, and our package is now complete and be found in this folder, C builds, blah 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 blah. So if we take a run in there, and we'll go in brand only, this folder, and here's our setup. Minimize this, click finish, and before we continue on here, back to settings, we'll put us back onto our private network, click apply. Go back to our adapter settings. Disable it. Properties. Go into IPv4. And we're going to have to manually configure this again. The IP address for this particular machine is 192.168.1.80. Yeah. Tab, that gives us our subnet mask. Default gateway, we don't have one. And our preferred DNS server will be RWDC01, which is 192.168.1.50. Click OK, close, and we'll re-enable our network adapter. And voila, we're back on Contoso. Here's our IE10 setup branding. Okay, so we get this little dialog. This installation of Internet Explorer includes customized settings that might contain additional programs for Contoso Corporation. By clicking install, you agree. And it's now installed. Now you'll note this is where a lot of people wind up screwing up. And our default URL, go.microsoft.com, blah blah. You forgot to do the one important thing, which was to log back off, then log back on again to apply the settings. So let's do that. Let's Contoso admin. Go back to our desktop, and let's fire up IE and see what happens. And there we go, portal.contoso.com. And that concludes exercise 2.4. Now on to exercise 2.5 using AppV programs. It's nice that we're including this in the course, but they really don't explain what Microsoft AppV is. AppV was made by a company called SoftGrid and was purchased by Microsoft back in 2006. It allows an application to be virtualized the same way that we run an operating system through Hyper-V, for instance. And it comes with a small runtime environment, which is a local virtual machine that's installed locally, and whatever applications wind up being assigned to that system are streamed out to the client the same way that you would stream, say, a YouTube video. Any changes that wind up happening to the application, like bug patches, fixes, new features, new configurations, when AppV starts, it checks in with the server to see if there's any new versions out there, and once again it'll stream any of those particular updates down to the client. This one of the nice things with AppV is it allows a local client to run an application locally without actually installing the application. This simplifies maintenance of the computer, because if you delete the runtime environment, bye-bye to any software that's running on that. One of the nice things that you have with it is you can run multiple versions of the same program concurrently on the same machine. So you can run Word for Office 2003, 2010, 2012, whatever, all at the same time on the same computer. That's the only way that you can do something like that. Another reason that Microsoft is really pushing this is it allows them to control the software and help eliminate piracy, because the software winds up contacting the central server to check for the licensing info before actually running. Now, just to give you an idea of how complex this can get, here's some of the different distribution methods for AppV that there are out there. Starting on the low end of the things, you can actually put your AppV application onto some kind of install media and install it directly. You can use an AppV streaming server to push it out to virtual desktops, remote desktop servers, or to desktops themselves. Or you can use an AppV management server to stream the applications along with the manifest once again to the virtual desktops, remote desktop servers, and the desktops. Or you can use SCCM to push it out to your clients, and once again virtual desktops, desktop, remote desktop server. So you have some options here that can get pretty complex. One of the more, now that I explained a little bit of what it is and give you an idea of what's going on. One of the more popular apps that Microsoft's been pushing as of late has been Office 365. And if you take a look here, meet Office 365, all the applications you love, always up to date. And this is how they do it, is through AppV. All these applications are going to be streamed to you if you have this subscription to your local machine as AppV applications. And you can run it on any kind of device since it's been virtualized. Okay, with that out of the way, let's get right into the lab. Now, on Win8A, we have to install MDOP. The book tells us to take a look for DVD5 Desktop Optimization Pack, and of course they didn't have that in the lab setup guide, so here's the one I wound up getting from my MSDN subscription for you guys. We'll right click here, we'll go mount, and there we go. Now we have to go into MDOP 2013 and click the launcher folder. So we see the DVDs mounted here as drive E. We'll go into launcher, select launcher, and here we go. Now on this particular screen, we'll click on AppV 5.0 client. And select install. Of course we accept. Next. In this case, no. No. And install. And setup's completed successfully. Click close. Now we have to deploy the sequencer. In case you're wondering, the client is what you need to run. The sequencer is what builds the package. Accept the license terms. Next. No. Install. And here we go. Okay, now we have the sequencer installed. We'll click close. And now we have to reboot. Now that we've rebooted, we'll log in as the Contoso administrator again. Log into the desktop. Run. Go into our services. And we'll go to the Windows Defender service and turn this off. The reason that we have to turn off our antivirus is we'll be doing things that would normally trigger an alert. We fire up the sequencer, and we're going to create a new virtual application package. Click on next, next, and standard application. Go to our WDC01. PowerPoint viewer. Next. Type in PowerPoint viewer. For the application package. we'll run this in C. Program files. PowerPoint viewer. Click on next. Set licensing terms. Next. Accept the default. Okay. We'll select I'm finished installing. What it's collecting there is any of the registry changes, any of the files, and it's packaging that all. Select here, go run all. Go cancel. Next. And here, we'll customize it a little bit further. Yes. Allow this program to operate on any operating system? Sure. Just give it a little bit of a description here. Then we'll click on create. Package is complete. And the save location for the package is right here. Users Administrator Desktop PowerPoint Viewer, which is question number 9. And that concludes the lab. Now let's go on to the lab challenge. Okay, so for the lab challenge here, what we're going to do is we're going to take our package, we're going to put it onto RWDC01, and we're going to install the runtime onto our Win8B client. So on Win8A, we'll copy our PowerPoint viewer. We'll copy it over to the software folder on RWDC. Now we have our folder. Let's go over to B. We'll install the runtime. And we do that exactly the same way we did on Win8A. We'll go mount. Run the launcher. Application virtualization. Install the client. Accept license terms. And go install. Okay, we're successfully installed. Close this. Get this out of the way. Although not necessary, we'll just eject this. Now we'll go to RWDC01. PowerPoint viewer. Run the install. The installer is finished running, and let's see if we have any success here. And here's the Microsoft PowerPoint viewer. And it's up and running. If we actually had a PowerPoint, we can call it up. And that concludes the lab challenge.